Of a quorum having been duly noted, the Sergeant-at-Arms will lock the doors and call the absent members. Members, the Senate is in session, and all absent members are requested to come to the Senate floor. order. And if our members and our guests beyond the rail and in the gallery would please rise, we will be led in prayer this morning by our guest chaplain, the Reverend Georgia Prescott from the Center for Spiritual Awareness. After which, please remain standing. We will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag by Senator Cogdill. Reverend? Oops, almost left me out.
Great Spirit, we give thanks for this place called the Senate today, and thanks also for the senators and aides who work so hard for a prosperous and harmonious California. May there be wisdom in this place, but especially may it be a place where the men and women become aware of the divine wisdom in themselves. May there be creativity in this place, but especially may it be a place where the men and women allow the natural creativity that is within them to flow in answer to the state's challenges. Maybe there be patience in this place, but may it especially be a place where women and men find the patience within to listen to each other with respect and honor. May everyone come to this Senate with expectation of success and go with thanksgiving. Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Privileges of the floor. Messages from the Assembly are deemed read. Reports of committees deemed read, and amendments are adopted. Under motions, resolutions, and notices, without objection, the following resolutions will be withdrawn from committee and placed on today's special consent calendar: SCR 120, SCR 122, SCR 125, ACR 152, ACR 157, ACR 164, ACR 165, ACR 168, ACR 175, ACR 178, ACR 179, ACR 181, and ACR 182. Once again, members, without objection, the previous resolutions will be withdrawn from committee and placed on today's special consent calendar. Pursuant to Senate Rule 2910, the following bills are referred to the Rules Committee. They are Item 31, which is Senate Bill 550, Item 38, which is Senate Bill 1201, and finally, Item 44, Senate Bill 1340-1340. Thank you, members. We are under introductions and first reading of bills. Consideration of the daily file. Second reading, governor's appointments, unfinished business. If I could have the attention of the House for just a moment, please, members. Members, we have items under unfinished business, file items 11 through 47. These are Senate bills, and we'd like members to take up these Senate bills on concurrence as soon as the Secretary has read the second reading file. Mr. Secretary.
Assembly Bill 499 and Assembly Bill 2530 with amendments.
Thank you. We are ready now for unfinished business. We are going through the file in file order. Again, the goal here, members, is to try and whittle down the number of Senate bills that are still under unfinished business. I'm going to start with file item 11, Senator Pavley. Senator Pavley, would you like to take up file item 11?
No,
pass. File item 12, pass. File item 13, Senator Yee, not at his desk. File item 14, Senator Price. Senator Price, this is file item 14, SB number 957, an act relating to student financial aid. Apparently there's a great deal of enthusiasm for your measure, Senator Price. Senator Price, will you be taking this item up? You're going to pass. Thank you. File item 15, Senator Yee, not at his desk. File item 16, Senator Liu, not at her desk. File item 17, Senator Romero, an act relating to migrant education. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 331 by Senator Romero, an act relating to migrant education.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. And members, since I'm the first one up today, I'm going to take a little bit of a privilege to indicate that, first of all, I want to call attention to the number of this bill. This is Senate Bill 331, and it signifies the birth date of Cesar Chavez, for whom this bill and his legacy, what he fought for, is being offered. Let me first begin with the amendments that were taken in the Assembly, and then I'll talk about the bill. The bill, of course, deleted requirements for expanded data collection for interpretation services at Migrant Parent Advisory Council hearings, basically to reduce costs and to bring it to essentially a zero cost. But the bill, and I think that it's important to think about the legacy of Cesar Chavez fighting for the rights of migrant workers in the fields and the children who have worked the fields alongside the parents. This bill, as I indicated, was numbered for the birth date. California has 1/3 of the nation's migrant children in our public schools. And over the last several years, I know Senator Flores has seen this in his district, where we have unfortunately gone to funeral services of children who perished in the fields because of heat conditions, when they should have been in the classroom, quite frankly. This bill acknowledges the work of the Migrant Parents Advisory Committee, which is something that this legislature authorized many years ago. It puts into place detailed criteria about the annual report on the status of migrant children, the status of education. It also removes the cap on the number of migrant children that may be served in the region. Members, I think it's very important to think about the successes that are possible when migrant children have the same opportunities as all other children. And although the name of Jose Moreno Hernandez is probably not well known, I want to say his name today because he was an immigrant from Mexico. He lived and he worked in the fields of the San Joaquin Valley as a child. He recently became a NASA astronaut, and he went into orbit aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery in August of 2009. This was a kid who, when he worked the fields, used to look up at the stars, never believing he'd get from the field to the stars. He did. And that shows the success of putting an investment in the education of migrant children and giving migrant parents real opportunities to participate in their children's school system. Member, in honor of the legacy of Cesar Chavez and his fight for migrant children, I ask you to concur with me in the amendments taken, and let's move this bill to the governor's desk. I respectfully ask for a si se puede, I vote.
Members, is there debate or discussion? Is there debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, the Secretary will call the roll.
Onnested? Aye. Alquist? Ashburn? Blakesley? Aye. Calderon? Cedillo? Cogdill? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Denham? Aye. DeSaulnier? Duchesne? Aye. Dutton? Aye. Emerson? Aye. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Harmon? Aye. Hollingsworth? Huff? Aye. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete-McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? Aye. Smidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Walters? Aye. Wiggins? Wolk? Wright? Aye. Wyland? Yee.
Call the absent members.
Calderon, aye. Alquist, aye. Ashburn? Aye. Cedillo? DeSaulnier? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Hollingsworth? Oropesa? Padilla? Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wyland? I. Yee. Aye.
Call the absent members.
Cedillo, Hollingsworth, Oropesa, Padilla, Wiggins.
Ayes 34, noes 0. The amendments are concurred in. Members, that takes us to file item 18. Members, we are at file item 18. We are working unfinished business. These are Senate bills. Senator Pavley, are you? Back to Senator Romero. For what purpose, Senator?
Under motions and resolutions, please.
Please.
Oh, I forgot, Secretary of State. Thank you, Mr. President. Members, you may notice that I'm wearing a beautiful yellow rose, and I want to call attention to the fact that today is August 26th. This is the commemoration of Women's Equality Day and the 90th anniversary of women's right to vote. Absolutely. In 1971, Congress, in all of its wisdom and at the behest of a very wise woman, Representative Bella Abzug from New York, designated today, this date, as Women's Equality Day. And the date, of course, was selected to commemorate the 1920 passage of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, granting women the right to vote. Members, you've seen the power and the courage and the conscience of women in this chamber. I have no doubt that we will continue to have our influence shown in the years and decades to come in the great state. Members, I'm going to ask the sergeants to please distribute to all of the women members of the Senate who earned the right to vote because of the action of brave women and men fighting for access for our rights. Sergeants, if you could please distribute a beautiful yellow rose to all of the women senators. And also, I have a Women's Equality Day quiz. Being chair of education, where I'm not going to ask you at this time, but I am going to distribute it on the floor. If you'd like to give it back to me, I will score it and give you your grade. And the point is to get to 100% proficiency in women's history and equality from every member of this esteemed body. So thank you very much, and please wear your yellow rose with pride. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Romero. Senator Calderon, for what purpose?
Motions and resolutions.
Proceed.
Please move item 115, which is AB 2367, to inactive, please.
Without objection.
Mr. President.
For what purpose do you rise, Senator Alquist?
Thank you, Mr. President. A Senate Health Committee will meet off the floor, have a hearing at 11 o'clock in room 3191. We have two bills.
Senate Health off the floor, room 3191 at 11 o'clock. Thank you very much. Members, back on unfinished business. Senator Pavley, we were at file item 18, an act relating to vehicles. Senate Bill number 420. Passed. Thank you. Senator Desaulnier, file item 19. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 145 by Senator Desaulnier, an act relating to workers' compensation.
Thank you, Mr. President. This item clarifies the prohibition against discrimination in the workers' compensation system. Assembly amendments were minor and technical and build off the passage of a similar piece of legislation last year by Assembly Member Yamada. I'd ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion, members? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Blakesley? No. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Denham? No. Desaulnier?
Aye.
Aye. Ducheney? Dutton? No. Emerson? No. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? No. Hollingsworth? Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? No. Simidian? Aye. Steinberg? Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Wolk? Wright? I. Wyland. No. Yee. Yee, aye. Correa, aye.
Call the absent members.
Cedillo. Duchesne. Aye. Hollingsworth. Oropesa. Steinberg. Aye. Wiggins. Wolk.
Call the absent members.
Wolk, aye.
Ayes 22, noes 13. The amendments are concurred in. File item number 20. Senator DeSaulnier, are you ready to take the matter up?
Yes.
Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 228 by Senator DeSaulnier, enacting to plastic bags.
Thank you, Mr. President. This item, 228, seeks to make it easier for people in the waste stream who are sorting plastic bags to identify compostable bags so they get in the right place. The Assembly amendments clarify that provisions of this bill may not conflict with Federal Trade Commission guidelines. I would ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? Blakesley? Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Denham? Correa, aye. Denham, no. DeSaulnier?
Aye.
Aye. Duchesne? Dutton? No. Emerson? Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? No. Hollingsworth? Huff? Keogh? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? No. Simidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? No. Yee? Yee, aye. Duchesne, aye. Blakesley, no. Padilla, aye.
Call the absent members.
Ashburn? Cedillo? Emerson? Hollingsworth? Huff? No. Lowenthal? Aye. Oropesa? Wiggins?
Call the absent members.
Ashburn? Cedillo? Aye. Ashburn, no. Emerson? Hollingsworth? Oropesa? Wiggins?
Ayes 23, noes 12. The amendments are concurred in. File item 21. Senator DeSaulnier, are you prepared to take this item up? Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 516 by Senator DeSaulnier, enacting to the California Youth Legislature.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a companion bill to a bill that was presented by Senator Senator Lowenthal by Assemblymember Hall that will allow for greater civic participation for at-risk kids in particular. Assembly amendments removed all opposition. I would ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Blakesley? Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? Corbett? Aye. Correa? Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Duchesne? Aye. Dutton? No. Emerson? Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? No. Hollingsworth? Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? No. Simidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? No. Yee? Yee, aye. Correa, aye. Cogdill, no. Blakesley, no.
absent members.
Emerson, Hollingsworth, Oropesa, Wiggins.
Ayes 23, noes 12. The Assembly amendments are concurred in. Senator Saulnier, you have file item 22. Are you prepared to take the item up?
Yes, sir.
Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 798 by Senator DeSaulnier, enacting to before and after school programs.
Mr. President, members, this particular bill makes improvements to California's 21st Century Community Learning Centers program. It also makes us more competitive for new federal funding that's come down from the Obama administration and Congress to allow for high-quality after-school and intercession programs. I would ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none. Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? Blakesley? Ashburn, no. Blakesley, no. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdell? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Aye. Dutton? Emerson? Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Aye. Hollingsworth? Huff? Kehoe? Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? Semidian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Walters? No. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Yee? Yee, aye. Correa, aye. Runner, aye. Dutton, aye.
Kehoe, aye.
Kehoe, aye.
Call the absent members.
Emerson, Hollingsworth, Huff, Oropesa, Wiggins, Wyland.
Ayes 28.
Wyland, aye.
Ayes 29, noes 5. The amendments are concurred in. File item 23, Senator Harmon. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 877 by Senator Harmon, enacting to arbitration.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, when this bill, SB 877, left the Senate, it sought to repeal the sunset on a program that allows out-of-state attorneys to participate in arbitration hearings in California so long as they fulfill certain minimal requirements. The amendments in the Assembly actually extended the sunset for 2 years. That was the main change in the Assembly. The bill has received no votes during its processing. I ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Members, is there any objection to substituting our unanimous roll call on this item? Ayes 36, including Senators Padilla and Cedillo. Ayes 36, noes 0. The amendments are concurred in. Members, that takes us to file item 24. Senator Hancock, Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1091 by Senator Hancock, enacting to Medi-Cal.
Thank you, Mr. President. SB 1091 is back for concurrence. The measure gives counties the option of using their dollars as a match for federal Medicaid funds to draw down federal dollars for medical and mental health services for young people temporarily placed in county juvenile detention facilities. Amendments taken in the Assembly make clarifying and technical changes to address concerns of the Department of Health Care Services. SB 1091 has received unanimous bipartisan support, and I would ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none. Members, is there any objection to substituting our unanimous roll call on this item? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 36, noes 0. The Assembly amendments are concurred in. Senator Correa, for what purpose do you rise,
Under
sir?
motions and resolutions, I'd like to have the body help me welcome one of my constituents, Lena Rivas. It's here to learn about the democratic process. Welcome, Ms. Rivas.
Thank you very much, Senator Correa, and welcome to your guest. Members, that takes us to file item 25, Senator DeSaulnier. This is Senator DeSaulnier taking up this item for Senator Wiggins. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1142 by Senator Wiggins, enacting to agricultural resources.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this bill by Senator Wiggins is a bipartisan measure that will help preserve working farmlands and open space. The bill gives the California Department of Conservation flexibility to work with willing landowners by using other existing funding as grants to protect riparian zones, wildlife habitat, or flood corridors, while simultaneously keeping the farm portion in agricultural use. Assembly amendments are technical in nature. I would ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Blakesley? Aye. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Cogdill? Cedillo, aye. Cogdill, no. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Duchesne? Aye. Dutton? No. Emerson? No. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? No. Hollingsworth? Huff? Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? No. Simitian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? No. Yee? Yee, aye. Correa, no.
Call the absent members.
Hollingsworth? Huff? No. Oropesa? Wiggins?
Ayes 23, noes 13. The amendments are concurred in. File item 26, Senator DeSaulnier. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1157 by Senator DeSaulnier, enacting to pesticides.
Thank you, Mr. President. This initiative, the Healthy Schools Act, seeks to strengthen an existing program that is voluntary to try to make sure that young people are safe in schools by encouraging school districts to establish an integrated pest management plan that at least tries to deal with controlling the use of the most toxic chemicals when it comes to pesticide control at our schools in California. Assembly amendment scaled it back from an outright ban. I would ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Blakesley? No. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Duchesne? Aye. Dutton? No. Emerson? No. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? No. Hollingsworth? Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? No. Simitian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Walters? No. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? No. Yee? Yee, aye. Onnested, no. Correa, no. Negrete McLeod, aye.
Call the absent members.
Hollingsworth, Oropesa, Strickland, Wiggins.
Ayes 22, noes 13. The Assembly amendments are concurred in. Senator Padilla, for what purpose do you rise? Senator Padilla at Senator Steinberg's desk.
For a brief introduction, members, thank you, Mr. President. As some of you know, I have assumed an additional responsibility this last year as Vice Chair of the Senate Select Committee on California Wine. And with that hat on, I'm proud to introduce the new President of the California Association of Wine Grape Growers, Mr. John Aguirre, who's visiting the Capitol today, who joins the association after 11 years as Executive Director of the Oregon Association of Nurseries. Previous to that, he's had a tremendous career on agricultural issues at the federal level, and we look forward to working with him the balance of this year and in the years to come. Please welcome Mr. Aguirre to Senate chambers.
Thank you, Senator Padilla, and we join you in welcoming your guests. Senator Romero, file item 27. Secretary will read.
Senate Bill 1271 by Senator Romero, enacting to the Political Reform Act of 1974.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. Members, we know that a statement of economic interest is to facilitate the disclosure of any potential conflict of interest by a governing body over actions over which they are voting. However, we know that some public retirement systems do not require all persons who participate in the decision-making process to file a statement of economic interest simply because they technically do not vote. Yet they are instrumentally involved in the decision-making process that leads to an outcome. This bill, supported by the FPPC, CalSTRS, AFSCME, many others, encompasses those persons who participate in the decision-making process but do not vote to also file a statement of economic interest. The amendments in the Assembly narrowed it so that it only applies to a public retirement system. I would ask for your aye vote in the interest of avoiding conflicts of interest.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objection to substituting our unanimous roll call on this item? Senator Weiland, for what purpose do you rise, sir?
Mr. President, is it too late to make a comment on the bill?
It is, sir.
Thank you. I support this bill.
Thank you. I'll take that as there is no objection to using the unanimous roll call. Ayes 36, noes 0. The Assembly amendments are concurred in. File item 28, Senator Steinberg. Senator Steinberg, would you like to pass temporarily? File item 29, Senator Ahlquist. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 769 by Senator Ahlquist, enacting to federal funding and declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
And Senator Ahlquist, one moment, please. Let me ask the House to come to order.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. This is a two-thirds vote. Assembly amendments added provisions to ensure that federal funds for emergency flu epidemic response are both timely and flexible. It does this by three requirements: requiring that the Department of Public Health allocate at least 70% of these federal funds to counties; number two, providing flexibility to the department to change this allocation if the state needs to retain more funds; and number three, by extending this program with a 2-year sunset until December 31st, 2010 to ensure legislative oversight. There is no opposition, and ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objections to substituting our unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 36, noes 0. The amendments are concurred in. File item 30, Senator Hancock. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 515 by Senator Hancock, enacting to career technical education.
Thank you, Mr. President. SB 515 is about strategically using labor data to direct the hundreds of millions of state and federal funds which are supporting our high school and community college career technical education programs. It requires the regional occupational centers, high schools, and community colleges with career technical education programs to ensure that at least half of the programs are in career sectors where there is a high priority need for skilled persons as determined by the State Labor and Workforce Development Agency. It also encourages consultations with the local Workforce Investment Board in determining how career tech education programs move forward. The bill has received bipartisan support in both houses. I request your aye vote on Assembly concurrence.
Debate or discussion? Senator Weiland.
I also support this bill. It's important.
Further debate or discussion? Further debate or discussion? Senator Hancock, would you like to close?
I do respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Call the roll.
Onnested? Ahlquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Blakesley? Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? No. Corbett? I. Correa. Denham. No. DeSaulnier. I. Ducheney. I. Dutton. Emerson. Flores. I. Hancock. I. Harmon. Hollingsworth. Huff. I. Kehoe. I. Leno. I. Liu. I. Lowenthal. I. Negrete McLeod. I. Oropesa Padilla. I. Pavley. I. Price. I. Romero. I. Runner. I. Sumedian. I. Steinberg. I. Strickland. Walters. I. Strickland. I. Wiggins. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. I. Yee. Yee. I. Onstead. No. Emerson. I. Blakeslee. I.
Call the absent members.
Correa. Dutton. I. Harmon. Hollingsworth. Correa. I. Harmon. Oropesa. Wiggins.
Ayes 31, noes
Harmon, no.
5. Ayes 31, noes 5. These assembly amendments are concurred in. File item 31, not eligible. File item 32, Senator Leno. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 733 by Senator Leno, enacting to grants for trauma centers.
Thank you, Mr. President. Prior to my presentation, I would like to make an announcement that the Committee on Public Safety will meet to hear 2 bills immediately following the Committee on Health hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Secretary, please read.
This bill, which passed off the Senate floor with 32 votes, will improve the treatment and services for victims of violent and traumatic crime through trauma recovery centers. The amendments taken on the Assembly side ensure that the grant program will not be funded unless the restitution fund contains a prudent reserve. I would ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onestead. I. Alquist. I. Ashburn. Blakeslee. Calderon. I. Cedillo. I. Cogdill. I. Corbett. I. Correa. Denham. DeSaulnier. I. Ducheney. I. Dutton. I. Emerson. I. Flores. I. Hancock. I. Harmon. I. Hollingsworth. Huff. Kehoe. I. Leno. I. Liu. I. Lowenthal. I. Negrete McLeod. I. Oropesa Padilla. I. Pavley. Price. I. Romero. I. Runner. I. Sumedian. Steinberg. I. Strickland. I. Walters. Wiggins. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. I. Yee. Yee. I. Ashburn. I.
Call the absent members.
Blakeslee. I. Correa. I. Denham is I. Huff. I. Oropesa. Pavley. I. Sumedian.
Aye.
I. Walters. Wiggins.
Ayes 35, noes 0. The Assembly amendments are concurred in. File item 33, Senator Pavley. An act relating to water recycling?
Yes.
Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 918 by Senator Pavley, enacting to water recycling.
Yes, members and Mr. President. This bill helps implement the State Water Board's policy on recycled water by allowing the board to fund the Department of Public Health's development of criteria for indirect potable reuse of water. The bill is funded using existing waste discharge permit funds. The Assembly amendments were at the request of the State Water Board. They ensure the State Water Board controls the use of the waste discharge permit funds used by DPR to carry out the development of indirect potable reuse criteria. There is no registered opposition to this bill. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist?
Aye.
Aye. Ashburn? No. Blakesley? Calderon? Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Aye. Dutton? No. Emerson? No. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Aye. Hollingsworth? Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? No. Simidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? No. Yee? Yee, aye. Correa, aye. Negrete McLeod, aye.
Ayes 20.
Blakesley, aye.
Call the absent members.
Calderon? Aye. Hollingsworth? Oropesa? Wiggins?
Ayes 25, noes 11. The Assembly amendments are concurred in. File item 34, Senator Alquist. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 964 by Senator Alquist, enacting to workforce training and making an appropriation therefore.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. SB 964 appropriates $500,000 from the high-speed rail bond to EDD for a labor market survey to address the potential workforce shortages facing the high-speed rail project. Assembly amendments require EDD to consult with the Mineta Transportation Institute at San Jose State and others on the labor market survey. Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Blakesley? No. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Denham? DeSaulnier? Denham, no. DeSaulnier, aye. Ducheney? Aye. Dutton? No. Emerson? No. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? No. Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Liu? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? No. Simidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? No. Yee? Yee, aye.
Call the absent members.
Correa, aye. Hollingsworth? Oropesa? Wiggins?
Ayes 23, noes 13. The Assembly amendments are concurred in. File item 35, Senator Huff. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1116 by Senator Huff, enacting to heritage school instruction and declaring the urge thereof take effect immediately.
Thank you, Mr. President, members. SB 1116 requires heritage schools to file an electronic registration form with the Superintendent of Public Instruction detailing specific information relative to personnel and course of study. The measure requires heritage school employees to be fingerprinted and ensures adequate health and safety standards for the students. Assembly amendments did several things, including notifying parents that this school does not qualify for compulsory education. It also includes technical cleanup language related to the application timeline and references to the application as an affidavit or statement. I ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Senator Yee.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I rise to support, I think, the request of Senator Huff because of the urgency clause that is put into this particular bill. If we get this out, Governor signs it, it will literally save hundreds of after-school programs for children. These are all privately funded. These are programs that help enrich our children's lives from diverse cultures, and just want to commend again Senator Huff for his steadfastness in working on this particular issue, but most importantly, coming to the table and working out these compromises so that he can literally save hundreds of schools up and down the state of California in provisions for our children. And again, want to just urge my colleagues and all of us to be supportive of this.
Senator Romero.
Yes, Mr. President, members, I'm part of the Huff Yee Romero support group on this bill. It's a wonderful bill. I have many of these heritage schools in the district, the San Gabriel Valley, that I mutually represent with Senator Huff. They are remarkable in preparing children for acquisition of language, culture, not at taxpayers' expense. If you haven't visited one of the heritage schools, please do so during the interim. They are amazing, and I think they offer much for the public school system to emulate. I strongly urge an aye vote.
Further debate or discussion? Senator Denham.
Mr. President, members, I rise in support. I know when Senator Yee gets up and speaks, the Democrats on the other side of the aisle always follow his lead. And certainly we saw yesterday Senator Strickland get up and help out Senator Huff on his bill. And I wanted to make sure I was here to lend my support and urge everybody to vote on this 27-vote bill. Glad to be helpful.
Thank you.
Is there further debate or discussion? Senator Huff, you may close.
I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Huff. Senator Huff, given the Huff-Yee-Romero-Denham coalition, I think this may be a candidate for our unanimous roll call. Is there any objection? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 36, noes 0 on the urgency, ayes 36, noes 0 on the Assembly amendments which are concurred in. Senator Ahlquist, are you vacating the premises for your committee hearing at this time? No. Then we still have a full complement of members. Members, that takes us to file item 36. Senator Flores. File item 36. Senator Flores. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1146 by Senator Flores, enacting to finance lenders.
Thank you. Members, this bill establishes a pilot program for affordable credit building opportunities that would allow licenses under the California Finance Lenders Law to participate in the pilot program, offering unsecured consumer loans with less than $2,500 until January 1st, 2015. This amendments are revised to recast the bill. I'd like to thank Senator Corbett for her help on this particularly, and this bill left the Assembly unanimously without a no vote. Would ask for an aye vote here.
Is there debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none. Members, is there any objection to substituting our unanimous roll call? If not, ayes 36, noes 0. Amendments are concurred in. File item 37, Senator Corbett. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1149 by Senator Corbett, enacting to residential tenancies and foreclosure.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. Senate Bill 1149 would help ensure that tenants who are living in foreclosed properties receive important information about their living situation. Both California and Congress recently enacted important protections which give tenants additional time to search for a new home and move when the house in which they are living is foreclosed upon. Despite the establishment of these important protections, many innocent tenants have received confusing notices to vacate that are unclear and conflicting and full of complex legalese. SB 1149 will help to protect tenants and ensure that they receive the full benefit of the important legislation enacting protections over the last few years in this legislature. The bill also tailors the masking law to address the situation in which the eviction action is based on a foreclosure so that innocent tenants will be protected. The amendments taken in the Assembly made clarifying changes, and I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onstead? No. Ahlquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Blakesley? No. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Aye. Dutton? No. Emerson? No. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? No. Hollingsworth? Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? No. Sumedian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? I. Strickland. No Walters. No Wiggins. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. No Yee. Yee, aye.
Ayes 22, noes 13. The amendments are concurred in. File item 38, not eligible. File item 39, Senator Kehoe. File item 39, Senator Kehoe. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1207 by Senator Kehoe enacting the land use.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. This bill requires local governments to review and revise their safety plans in high fire hazard zones. The Assembly amendments took care of a chaptering problem. I ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Blakesley? No. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? Corbett? Aye. Correa? Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Aye. Dutton? No. Emerson? No. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? No. Hollingsworth? Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Newgate McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? No. Sumedian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Walters? No. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? No. Yee. Yee, aye. Padilla, aye. Correa, aye.
Ayes 23, noes 11.
Cogdill, no.
Ayes 23, noes 12. The amendments are concurred in. Members, if I could have your attention for a moment regarding committee hearings. At this time, the Health Committee will be meeting in room 3191. These are 2910 hearings, members. Health will be meeting in room 3191. Upon adjournment of Health, Public Safety will be meeting in room 3191. Upon adjournment of Public Safety, Education will be meeting in room 3191. Upon adjournment of Education, Energy will be meeting in room 3191. Banking and Finance remains scheduled at 1:30, and Judiciary and Local Government Committees will meet upon the call of the chair. Health at 11 o'clock, followed by Public Safety, followed by Education, followed by Energy. We will put bills on call while those four hearings are underway. Health, Public Safety, Education, and Energy. We will go back through the unfinished business file as well to ensure that members who are off the floor participating in hearings have the opportunity to present their bills when they return. Members, that brings us to file item 40. Senator DeSaulnier. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1230 by Senator DeSaulnier enacting the human trafficking.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this piece of legislation is a result of a hearing that Senator Corbett and I had in Los Angeles at the request of the pro tem as the chair of Judiciary and myself as the chair of Labor, where we heard very compelling, sad testimony about the state of slavery and human trafficking in California and the United States. This bill is a very simple bill. It just requires that employers, in their posting for laws that they have to post, that on the bottom there's two 800 numbers, so that if any of their employees or anyone who would read that information knows of any instance, obviously most outside of that particular workplace, but knows of any instance where there may be human trafficking or slavery, they can call this toll-free number in Washington and get information or provide information. I would ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? Alquist? Ashburn? No. Blakesley? No. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Aye. Dutton? Emerson? No. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? No. Hollingsworth? Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? Semidian? Aye. Steinberg? Strickland? Walters? No. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Yee? Yee, aye. Wyland, no. Correa, aye.
Ayes 18, noes 9. Senator DeSaulnier places a call. File item 41, Senator Leno, not at his desk. I believe the senator is in committee. File item 42, Senator Duchesne. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1284 by Senator Duchesne, enacting water quality.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and members. This bill attempts to address an issue that has arisen with many small water districts. Previous legislation related to the Porter Cologne Act imposed mandatory minimum penalties for what were called serious waste discharge violations. As it has been implemented, it has resulted in some inequities in the situation. Many small districts who did not file a report and simply not filing the report even when there was no illegal discharge, penalties had piled up because it was a daily minimum penalty to the level which was beyond the ability of those districts and disproportional to the offense. This bill would allow some of those districts who are in a current situation where they didn't receive proper notification that they were in violation could be reduced to a fine per report as opposed to a daily fine on a one-time basis, and that going forward then there would be discretion in the board to acknowledge that folks who maybe just had a paperwork, essentially a paperwork violation, rather than an actual discharge violation, could be given discretionary penalties and not these enormous penalties. There were some districts and testimony in committees that had, fines in excess of $600,000 and with no violation of discharge. That was just too absurd, and we're trying to redress that situation equitably and make the clear distinction between those who actually are violating their discharge permits, those who don't file the paperwork, and although it's important that those be filed, that we give discretion to the board to give lesser penalties for those than the daily penalties, which are fully appropriate to those who in fact violate their discharge permits. It has received substantial support from everyone. It is sponsored by Aqua and regional counties, several water districts, and I note in the analysis that both the Chamber of Commerce and the Sierra Club support it, so it can't be all bad. Ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none. Members, is there any objection to substituting our unanimous roll call? If not, ayes 36, noes 0. Senator Harmon, for what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. Question of the presiding officer about placing bills on call while we have committees in process. Are we doing that?
We will place bills on call while we have committees in process. However, where they are candidates for unanimous consent, I've confirmed with the Secretary that it is appropriate to ask if there's any objection to unanimous consent.
I agree. Thank you.
Thank you for your parliamentary inquiry, Senator. Once again, on this item, file item 42, ayes 36, noes 0. The Assembly amendments are concurred in. File item 43, Senator Leno, not at his desk. I believe he's in committee. File item 44 is not eligible. File item 45, Senator Steinberg. Yes. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1357 by Senator Steinberg, enacting to pupil data.
Thank you very much. I know there's support on both sides of the aisle. This bill is contingent on federal funding, requires the Department of Education to modify the statewide K-12 data system to incorporate student attendance data, one of the key correlating factors to the dropout rate. I ask for an aye vote.
Is there debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Members, is there any objection to substituting our unanimous roll call on this item? If not, ayes 36, noes 0. The amendments are concurred in. File item 46, Senator Kehoe. File item 46, Senator Kehoe. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1414 by Senator Kehoe, enacting to the Public Utilities Commission.
Thank you for your persistence, Mr. President. This item returns from the Assembly with amendments that narrow the bill to clarify the timeline in which the California Public Utilities Commission may extend the review period for rehearing applications. The amendments also added resolved chaptering problems again. We ask for you to adopt the amendments and concur. Thank you.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objection to substituting our unanimous roll call? There is. Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Blakesley? No. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Aye. Dutton? No. Emerson? No. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Herman? No. Hollingsworth? Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Runner? No. Semidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? No. Yee? Yee, aye. Cedillo, aye. Padilla, aye.
Call the absent members.
Correa? Hollingsworth? Liu? Oropesa? Romero? Wiggins?
Ayes 20, noes 13. Senator Kehoe moves the call. Members, I am advised that the Senate Health Committee has completed its business in room 3191 and that the Senate Public Safety Committee is now scheduled to conduct its hearing in room 3191. Let me look to the Sergeant-at-Arms at the rear of the chambers and confirm that. Yes, indeed. Public Safety Committee now in room 3191. Public Safety will be followed by Education upon the completion of the Public Safety hearing. Members, we are at file item 47, Senator Padilla. File item 47, Senator Padilla will pass temporarily. Members, we're going to go back to the beginning of the unfinished business file and take up items which were passed either because someone asked to pass temporarily or because they were simply off the floor. Let's go back to file item 11 under unfinished business. Senator Pavley, do you wish to take this item up at this time? Pass temporarily. File item 12, Senator Semidian, not at his desk. File item 13, Senator Yee. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 662 by Senator Yee.
Senator Yee, one moment, please. Senator Onestad, for what purpose do you rise, sir?
Point of parliamentary procedure.
Yes, Senator.
This is the second time today that Senator Pavley has passed on a bill. Are we going to maintain the rule about passing on bills twice, not being able to heard third time that day?
Senator, what I'd like to do is ask if I can consult with the Secretary and then announce the Secretary's understanding of the rule with respect to that issue shortly. Is that agreeable?
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Yee, we're going to ask that the Secretary read. Senator Yee, then you will proceed.
Senate Bill 662 by Senator Yee, enacting to domestic violence.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and Senators. Let me just say that given these tough economic times, there are more and more instances of domestic violence. And the rationale and the reason and the ideology for that is the fact that when you have tough times, there's always discord, there's always tension among family members, among partners, among spouses. And because of that, unfortunately, a lot of our children get sort of in the crossfire with those particular tensions. When you, on the one hand, have these increases of incidents of domestic violence, you would hope that there are services to kind of deal with some of the problems. Unfortunately, that's just not the case. With the dwindling funding for domestic violence programs, with the cutback in domestic violence program, we're finding more and more times where our families are in fact at risk, and to the point where individuals now have to leave the house and they're out in the street. Women are out in the streets with their children. So one dramatic example, I think, of the difficulty is that earlier this week, a domestic violence shelter in Grass Valley was shut down. That's the 4th shutdown in this year, in this 1 year, due to the last year's devastating budget cuts on domestic violence program. What this bill will do is to allow counties to opt in. It's not required. They need to take an affirmative vote to opt in to increase the historic marriage license fee by $10, an increase from $23 to $33. The funding will go directly to domestic violence programs that will help our children and many of the women who are out there alone by themselves. And with that, urge an aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Senator Harman, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President, members. You know, none of us deny the need for domestic violence counseling and centers. It's absolutely critical and important. We heard some testimony in the Judiciary Committee when this bill was presented on that issue, and everyone there was in agreement of the need for this. The question here, though, members, is how are we going to pay for it? How are we going to fund and finance these types of necessary facilities that are needed throughout California? And I would submit to you that there needs to be a nexus or a connection between the fee and the type of service that's being provided, and that in this case, that nexus is not present. And we should not be using fees, imposing fees, or authorizing counties to impose fees when there's no reasonable connection or nexus between that fee and the service that it would be funding. And for that reason, I respectfully urge a no vote.
Further debate or discussion? Further debate or discussion? Senator Yee, would you like to close?
Thank you very much. To my esteemed colleague, Senator Harman, you're absolutely right. Is the line connecting the particular fee to the particular problem 100%? No. But the last time I checked is that those relationships that have gone sour, those marriages that have gone sour, those relationships that have gone sour came because those two individuals walked up to the county office and said, I want to get married. And so they are, in fact, contributing to that particular problem because the relationship went sour. That relationship was consummated at the courthouse, and that's where the nexus is. Are all relationships because they stepped up to the county office? No. But the reality is that there are a lot of those kinds of relationships. That's where the nexus is. I just want to say that we right now, because we don't have any other solution, we are putting moms, we are putting kids out in the street. These are domestic violence shelters that's going to provide a safe haven for these moms and their kids. Absent this, as I indicated earlier, we have 4 shelters that have been shut down, the last one in Grass Valley. And where are those moms and where are those kids going to go to? Absent those shelters, if they don't have another sort of safety net, or they don't have relationships, or they don't have family members, they're out in the freeways and in the farmlands, anywhere that they can hide. And I don't think that that's what we should do, particularly in this enlightened state that we call California. With that, urge an aye vote.
Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Blakesley? No. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Cogdill? Corbett? Aye. Correa? Denham? No. DeSaulnier? DeCheney? Aye. Dutton? Emerson? No. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Harmon? No. Hollingsworth? Huff? Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete-Boucard? Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? No. Simidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Strickland? No. Walters? Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? No. Yee? Yee, aye. Huff, no. Walters, no. Dutton, no.
Ayes 16, noes 12. Senator Yee moves the call. Members, that takes us to file item 14. Senator Price, not at his desk. File item 15. Senator Yee. Secretary, please read. Members, one moment, please, Mr. Secretary, and one moment, please, Senator Yee. The public safety hearing in room 3191 has concluded, and it is now appropriate for the Education Committee to convene in room 3191. Once again, Senator Romero and other members of the Education Committee, room 3191 for the Senate Education Committee to hear an item pursuant to 2910. Senator Yee, Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 782 by Senator Yee, an act relating to unlawful detainer.
Thank you very much, Mr. President and Senators. This is another bill that deals with domestic violence, and this is a situation where the victim, survivor of domestic violence is living in a particular place, has a rental agreement, has a lease in that particular place. Unfortunately, there are times when you have the perpetrator of the domestic violence, the individual that is causing the domestic violence, to harass, to harangue the victim, the survivor of domestic violence, and that's where the problem comes in. What this bill will do is to say that if you are, in fact, a victim of domestic violence, that by itself ought not to be a way in which you can get evicted from your particular place. It at least provides you with a safe haven, maybe not in a shelter, but in your own home. You would not be forced out of it, and it allows you at least a modicum of some safety and some protection. The amendments that were taken on the Assembly side have now removed all opposition. With that, urge an aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? Alquist? Ashburn? No. Blakesley? Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Denham? No. DeSaulnier? DeCheney? Aye. Dutton? Emerson? Flores? Aye. Hancock? Harmon? No. Hollingsworth? Huff? Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete-Boucard? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Price? Aye. Romero? Runner? No. Simidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? No. Wyland? No. Yee. Yee, aye. Onstead, no. Correa, no. Blakesley, aye. Dutton, no. DeSaulnier, aye.
Call the absent members.
Alquist, Cedillo, Emerson, Hancock, Hollingsworth, Huff, Liu, Oropesa, Pavley, aye. Romero, Wiggins.
Ayes 17, noes 12. Senator Yee moves a call. File item 16, Senator Liu not at her desk. Members, before I go on to the next item, in response to the point of parliamentary inquiry raised by Senator Onestad earlier, we have confirmed with the Secretary of the Senate, and I believe Senator Onestad has talked with him individually as well, that a member of the Senate is entitled to pass on an item 3 times before the item would ordinarily be moved to inactive, and indeed that rule is rarely invoked, since moving it to inactive simply requires to move it off inactive subsequently back onto the floor of the Senate. Back on file, members. We are now at file item 28. Senator Steinberg. File item 28. Would Secretary please read?
Senate Bill 1283 by Senator Steinberg, enacting to health care coverage.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is a bill that came out of the Blue Ribbon Task Force on Autism. It addresses an important consumer problem that seeks to address the prolonged delays that may occur during the resolution of grievances filed by parents with the Department of Managed Health Care. The Assembly amendments provide more specific guidelines in cases where appeals cannot be resolved within 30 days. I urge an aye vote on the amendments. Has widespread support for consumers, stakeholders, and advocates. Thank you.
Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Secretary, call the roll.
Onestad? No. Alquist? Ashburn? Blakesley? No. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Denham? No. DeSaulnier? Aye. Duchesne? Aye. Dutton? No. Emerson? Flores? Aye. Hancock? Harmon? No. Hollingsworth? Huff? Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Romero? Runner? No. Simidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? No. Walters? No. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Yee? Yee, aye. Correa, aye.
Ayes 17, noes 9. Senator Steinberg moves the call. Members, that takes us to file item 41 and then 43. Senator Leno, file item 41. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1254 by Senator Leno, enacting to contractors.
Thank you, Mr. President. The amendments taken on the Assembly side are technical in nature, and the bill has no opposition. I would ask for your aye vote.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objection to substituting our unanimous roll call on this item? Call the roll.
Onestad? Aye. Alquist? Ashburn? Aye. Blakesley? Aye. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Denham? Aye. DeSaulnier? Aye. Duchesne? Aye. Dutton? Aye. Emerson?
One moment. Proceed.
Flores? Aye. Hancock? Harmon? Hollingsworth? Huff? Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Romero? Runner? Aye. Simidian?
Aye.
Aye. Steinberg? I. Strickland. I. Walters. I. Wiggins. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. Yee. Harmon, I. Correa, I.
Ayes 27, noes 0. Senator Leno moves the call. File item 43. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1329 by Senator Leno, enacting to residential care facilities for the elderly.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, this bill left the Senate floor on consent, and it will protect California's 120,000 seniors who are residents of residential care facilities from last-minute notifications of foreclosures. The amendments taken in the Assembly were requested by the Department of Social Services, and it will provide them with greater flexibility in determining the appropriate way to respond to licensees of these residential care facilities who have notified them of their financial distress. I ask for your concurrence on the Assembly amendments.
Debate or discussion? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none. Members, is there any objection to substitute? There is. Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested. Aye. Alquist. Ashburn. No. Blakesley. Aye. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Aye. Cogdell. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Denham. No. DeSaulnier. Aye. Ducheney. Dutton. Emerson. Flores. Aye. Hancock. Harmon. No. Hollingsworth. Huff. Kehoe. Aye. Leno. Liu. Lowenthal. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price. Romero. Runner. No. Semidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Walters. Wiggins. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Yee. Yee, aye. Strickland, no. Walters, no. Correa, no.
Aye 17, no 7. Aye 17, no 7. Senator Leno moves the call. Members, that takes us to file item 47. Senator Padilla, file item 47. Pass. Members, let me ask at this time if there are any members who wish to take up file items 11 through 47. Are there any members who wish to take up items? These are unfinished business Senate bills on our file from file item 11 through 47. If not, then what I would suggest, Mr. President Pro Tem, is that we allow the Education Committee to complete its business, and when they return, we will lift the call. Prior to that time, I would ask if there are items under motions and resolutions.
Oh, yes.
And we'll go to Senator Ashburn, and then we'll go to you, Senator Steinberg. Senator Ashburn, for what purpose?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. And Senators, we all love a happy birthday celebration. Today marks the 100th anniversary of the birth of Mother Teresa. Regardless of your religious or spiritual views or background, beliefs, I think we could all agree that Mother Teresa was truly a wonderful, remarkable human being who touched the lives of people not just in Calcutta, India, but all around the world. And so with her great works and the remarkable human being that she was, I would ask that we keep in mind, as we go about our work, the spirit of Mother Teresa, who for 45 years ministered to the poor, the sick, the orphans, and the dying, the least of us. Mother Teresa was there to lend that hand that we are all called to also be of service. Mother Teresa's missionaries of charities established in 123 countries, and by the time of her death, had 160 missionaries around the world, helping people through hospice for victims of HIV/AIDS, leprosy, tuberculosis, soup kitchens, children's and family counseling, orphanages, and schools, and so many ways. I know that Mother Teresa touched all our lives, and so it would be the 100th birthday of Mother Teresa, and I want to thank Senator Huff for bringing to my attention and to all of our attention that this is, in fact, the celebration of the day of her 100th birth.
Thank you, Senator Ashburn. Do we have other items under motions and resolutions? Other items under motions and resolutions? Members, my understanding is that the Senate Education Committee has adjourned. We will not go immediately to energy. Rather, we will ask that the Senate Education Committee return to the Senate chambers so that we have a full complement to lift the call on bills which have been placed on call during committee hearings. Senator Corbett, before I go to Senator Steinberg, for what purpose do you rise, ma'am?
I do have an adjourn in memory if we have time for that.
This would be an appropriate time. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I rise to adjourn in the memory of Bill and Eleanor Ahern. Both passed away this summer, just 6 weeks apart, after 63 years of marriage. William Ahern was a Navy veteran who worked in the Alameda County District Attorney's Office, and after that established a private practice. I had the opportunity to work with him when I was a brand new attorney, and I can tell you that he practiced law in the finest tradition of that profession. He retired after 50 years of work, including many pro bono cases. Bill was also an accomplished athlete in several sports. He was a championship tennis player and was inducted into the St. Joseph High School and Santa Clara University Basketball Hall of Fame. His wife, Eleanor Marie Ahern, was a wife and mother of 4 wonderful children. She was a traditional stay-at-home mom, but she also found time to work with special needs children, volunteering for Children's Hospital, and spent over 20 years devoting 1 day of her week to drive cancer patients to their appointments. In addition, she had her own business. It was called Tioli, where she was happy to be a personal shopper at the gift center in San Francisco. She was a loyal friend, a devoted mother, and a grandmother who loved unconditionally. She survived, and Mr. Ahern also survived, by their 4 wonderful children, Michael Ahern, Patricia Manifesto, Elizabeth Hackle, and Gregory Ahern, who's the Alameda County Sheriff. Also survived by many grandchildren and great-grandchildren. They will both be greatly missed, and I ask that we adjourn in their memory.
Thank you, Senator Corbett, and please convey the sympathies of the Senate to the friends and family. Senator Steinberg, we have items on call. I'd like to lift the call, but before that, I believe we're going to call it motions and resolutions. We're going to go to Senator Romero. Senator Romero, for what purpose do you rise, Senator?
Thank you, Mr. President and members. Members, as you know, it's Women's Equality Day. We have passed out information on important bit of history in California, and each of the women senators have taken a piece of this quiz, and we would like to use our day to do a little bit of education about women's equality. So, members, let me just ask the question.
Senator Romero, let me just try this out. Without objection?
Who would dare?
Who would dare? Please proceed. Please proceed, Senator.
We have pins underneath these roses. So, member, let me just start out with California. In what year did California win the right to vote? I'll give you the answer. Senator Steinberg.
1919? 1920?
California.
Senator Romero, as it happens, I know the answer. Far too late. Next question.
Oh, perfect question. 1911, members, 1911. We were not the first, and other members have other bits of information for you as well.
Senator Pavley at her desk.
Thank you, and thank you to Senator Romero. Okay, here's a question for all of you. In what year did Congresswoman Bella Abzug introduce legislation to ensure that this important American anniversary would be celebrated? Is it A, 1992, B, 1984, C, 1971, or D, 1965? Mr. Dutton raised his hand, which I appreciate. And the answer, Mr. Dutton? We'd like to recognize good behavior. It's a teaching tip.
Thank you. Congratulations to Senator Dutton. And Senator Wolk at your desk.
How many other countries had already guaranteed women's right to vote before the campaign was won in the United States? 6, 2, 1, 16. And you get extra points if you know which country was the first. Goodwill.
And Senator Leno at your...
No.
And the answer is, Senator Wolk?
The answer is 16. New Zealand was the
16
first.
and New Zealand.
In 1893.
Senator Walters at your desk.
All right.
The lone Republican woman. Now, my question, if you don't get it right, I'm going to be really upset. August 26th is celebrated as Women's Equality Day to commemorate A, the work women did during the Second World War, B, the anniversary of women winning the right to vote, C, the flappers of the 1920s, or D, the contemporary women's rights movement. Come on, men.
That would be B.
It's B, the anniversary of women winning the right to vote.
Well said. Senator Kehoe at her desk.
All righty. Thank you, Senator Romero, for bringing this to all our attentions. All right. Women's Equality Day quiz. Women who worked for women's rights to vote, women's right to vote, were called A, radical, B, immoral, C, suffragist, or D, all of the above. All right.
Thank you, Senator Kehoe.
Always the easy answer on the quiz.
And Senator Corbett at her desk.
Okay, members, you should be able to get this one right. I think the answer is the same as Senator Simitian said earlier, far too long. But anyway, how many years did it take for women to win the right to vote in the United States? A, 72 years, B, 120 years, C, 20 years, D, 51 years.
72 years.
Very good, Senator
Well
Lowenthal.
done, Senator.
Far too long.
Senator Alquist at her desk.
Thank you. Now, I know the guys have had a little problem with some of the previous questions, and this one, to use a baseball term, is a fat one or a slow pitch. And that because the answer was in what Senator Romero said in her opening comments. In what year did women in the United States get the right to vote? 1776, 1848, 1920, or 1946?
And the answer is 1920.
1920. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Alquist. Senator Romero, we go now to Senator Hancock.
Well, this one is hard. So, the term suffragist is derived from A, one who suffers, B, a voting tablet in ancient times, C, the Constitution of the United States, D, the Bill of Rights.
Senator Wright, did you want to answer that question? No?
B as in boy. Right, Senator Lowenthal.
Senator Lowenthal is leading the pack here. Senator Liu, at your desk.
Thank you, sir. My question is, what was the first country that granted women the right to vote? A, Canada, B, Germany, C, New Zealand, D, United Kingdom. I know. No, she did something different, right? Dutton called it out. Mr. Dutton. Good, very good. New Zealand. New Zealand is the answer. Yes, 1893.
Thank you, Senator Liu. And Senator Negrete McLeod.
Okay. My question to you is,
What was the name given to the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, which guaranteed women's right to vote in the United States? A. Abigail Adams Amendment. B. Sojourner Truth Amendment. C. Susan B. Anthony Amendment. D. Gloria Steinman Amendment.
Thank you, Senator Greta McLeod. Senator Romero, I believe that completes your item under motions and resolutions. Thank you. And it is particularly timely that we can celebrate this day with the arrival of our friend and former colleague, Senator Liz Figueroa, who has joined us on the Senate floor. Thank you so much for joining us today, Senator. Members, we have a number of items on call. We're going to lift the call on those items, so if all members can please take their places on the Senate floor as we lift the call. First item is file item 40. Secretary, call the absent members.
Onstead. Alquist. Aye. Dutton. Hollingsworth. Leno. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Pavley. Aye. Runner. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Wiggins. Onstead, no. Dutton, no. Strickland, no. Runner, no. Wyland we have is no.
Ayes 23, noes 13. The amendments are concurred in. File item 46. Call the absent members.
Correa. Hollingsworth. Liu. Oropesa. Romero. Aye. Wiggins.
Ayes 21, noes 13. The amendments are concurred in. File item 13. Call the absent members.
Cedillo. Aye. Cogdill. No. Correa. Desaulniers. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Hollingsworth. Negrete McLeod. Oropesa. Pavley. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Wiggins.
Ayes 21. Ayes 21, noes 13. The amendments are concurred in. File item 15. Call the absent members.
Alquist. Aye. Cedillo. Aye. Emerson. Hancock. Aye. Hollingsworth. Huff. No. Liu. Aye. Oropesa. Romero. Aye. Wiggins. Emerson, no.
Ayes 22, noes 14. The amendments are concurred in. File item 28. Call the absent members.
Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. Cedillo. Aye. Emerson. Hancock. Aye. Hollingsworth. Huff. No. Liu. Aye. Oropesa. Price. Aye. Romero. Aye. Wiggins. Wyland. No. Wyland, no. Correa we have as aye.
Ayes 23, noes 11. The amendments are concurred in. File item 41. Call the absent members.
Alquist. Aye. Emerson. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Hollingsworth. Huff. Aye. Liu. Aye. Oropesa. Price. Aye. Romero. Aye. Wiggins. Wyland. Aye. Yee.
Ayes 35, noes 0. The amendments are concurred in. File item 43. Call the absent members.
Alquist. Aye. DeCheney. Aye. Dutton. No. Emerson? Hancock? Aye. Hollingsworth? Huff? Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Oropesa? Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Wiggins? Wyland? Wyland, no. Correa, we have as no. Emerson, no. Huff, aye.
Ayes 26, noes 10. The amendments are concurred in. Members, that completes our list of items on call. Senator Steinberg, for what purpose do you rise?
For purposes of taking up an appointment, file item 9, please.
File item 9 under Governor's appointments.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is the nomination of Michael Gunning as a member of the California Housing Finance Agency Board. Mr. Gunning was heard yesterday in the Rules Committee, approved on a 5-0 vote, no opposition. Mr. Gunning only has today and tomorrow remaining on his 365 days, and that's why I'm bringing the nomination up today. Many of us know Michael in his role as Vice President of the Personal Insurance Federation of California. He's a good person, well respected. I urge an aye vote.
Is there debate or discussion? If not, Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested? Aye. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? Blakesley? Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Denham? Aye. DeSaulnier? Aye. Duchesne? Dutton? Aye. Emerson? Aye. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Aye. Hollingsworth? Huff? Aye. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? Aye. Smidian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Walters? Aye. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Aye. Yee? Yee, aye.
Call the absent members.
Ashburn? Blakesley? Aye. Duchesne? Hollingsworth? Oropesa? Wiggins?
Ayes 34, noes 0. The appointment is confirmed. Senator Padilla, for what purpose do you rise, sir?
Simply to announce Senate Energy Committee will meet upon recess in room 3191.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Steinberg, the Senate has completed its unfinished business and governor's appointments. What is your pleasure, Mr. President?
Thank you, Mr. President. I know that there's some committee work to be done. I'd like to recess until 2:30 in the afternoon. We'll come back at 2:30 and resume our business.
All right. Then, members, the Senate Energy Committee will meet immediately upon recess in room 3191. Banking and Finance is, members, if we could have your attention, please. Banking and Finance is scheduled to meet at 1:30. And Senator Steinberg, do you wish to adjust or clarify?
Okay. Let me also, if I may, Mr. President, remind members of the Education Committee that there is an informational hearing that'll be at the call of the chair. Right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, members, without objection, we stand in recess.